It's week 4 of Academy, and I'm super excited. I'll tell you why in a moment. First though, my name is TJ, and we're here with TSM versus CLG. You may have caught some of the action over the previous weeks, and this ties into why I'm super excited. As we near the midpoint of our season, TSM are in first place, 5-1. CLG, on the other hand, just lost yesterday. There are 4 wins, 3 losses. And get this, part of a 5-way tie for second place. They're trying to drag TSM down here today. The teams that they're tied with, CLG Academy is currently tied in the second with 100 Thieves Academy, Cloud9 Academy, who they lost to yesterday, Evil Geniuses Academy, and Immortals Academy. A 5-way tie. So this season of Academy is going great. It's been pure chaos, a whole lot of experimental strategies, a whole lot of genuine innovation. My whole energy over the last couple of weeks has just been about how Academy has so many genuinely talented players that are coming up from amateur, a couple of them playing here in this game. They're coming up from amateur within the last couple of seasons that are playing actually as well as the LCS. That you could promote onto an LCS team next week, and it would be fine. I mean, maybe don't knock out your star player for him, but it would be fine. And these teams are no different. Certainly TSM Academy, no different. CLG and TSM both benefit from star players in roughly the same places. Those bot lanes are incredibly strong. Lost and Treats for TSM are quite possibly the most powerful bot lane in Academy. You're about to see the aggression out from CLG as we kick things off that has defined their own bot lane. Phil, on things like the Leona, like yesterday, Pantheon support is always diving in, opening up fights, and this time may have gotten them in trouble at this level 2. Phil wants to fight, wins already incredibly low, and lost with a sliver of HP, with Ignite ticking down on him. Will survive. TSM get first blood, and I told you these bot lanes were good. I'm glad I got that out right ahead of that. Oh Lord, Phil. I don't think he quite has the damage to get this kill. In fact, I think Treats out-damages him. Leona level 2, especially because he went for the Zenith Blade. And, like, he's not going to be doing any damage, but that's never stopped Phil before. That Pantheon support I mentioned, wasn't the problem versus C9. That was a solid part. He's also known for playing sick pipe games. And that's a really fun style mismatch versus somebody like Treats on the opposite end for TSM, who plays much more, I'm going to say, selflessly. He's all about setting up these perfect plays, enabling Lost to succeed. And as Winston roams down, they've done exactly that, a 3v3 down here in the bot lane. Phil to slip away, as Winston doesn't quite have the damage to finish up the tanky Leona. Even during the early game, she can take a few hits. Lost and Co don't get any more kills, but TSM are firmly winning that bot lane. I did want to talk about this bot lane, or this top lane as well, because this has been where TSM's weakness has been exploited. Not actually in Dokla per se, as, oh, he obliterates Deus in that trade, but in Winston. Because he's the newest player to this lineup. He just got promoted from Full Spectrum fairly recently, which is a very cool amateur team. Of course, coming in to replace Speaker, and he's not been bad. I certainly don't have any fault with his individual play, but you see him get disconnected from the team. You see him get bullied sometimes. The one game this season that TSM Academy have lost to Immortals Academy, or now Immortals? I don't know, that's an ongoing narrative. But to that team, Winston was just bullied. Egg Smithy was just running through the jungle, and he was obviously outclassed. So, the narrative I think that we need to build for Fragas is he needs to do that. he needs to be bullying Winston out of his own jungle, out of his own safety. Because the second Immortals were able to do that to TSM, it opened up the entire top half of the map. And despite TSM getting an early lead, they were just able to hold on to a win condition. Dokla in that game was just caught out repeatedly. Not, I think, because of his own errors, though there certainly were some, but just because they had no map control anywhere between him and his bot lane who were doing alright. So, a focus, perhaps, on Winston would be the call. Froggus, though, not playing the best character for it. This is a Trundle into a Graves. I want to also shout out Wind for playing the Tristana. It's not as mad as it might seem. It has seen a bit of play across various regional leagues this season. Get more into that after Winston goes here on the bot lane. Engage for Treats does land. Phil counter-engages, knowing he has the roam coming in from Froggus, but... oh my lord, the rocket jump! Wind into the back lines. He's already got one kill, and Winston's going to be picked up as well. CLG strike back down bottom. They might get 3. The rocket jump to chase will not quite tag down Treats, but CLG are back with a vengeance. That is exactly what they need if both teams are going to play through the bot lane. You know, I'm setting up all these hypothetical focuses on Winston, and that's well and good if you have a Smithy, if you have the opportunity to bully him out of jungle. But if you can take TSM Academy on blow for blow in the bot lane, and just say, we're going to outlane Lost and Treats, we're going to knock them out of the game, that is a big portion of their win condition. Evolved is the other half. I was looking at the stats. These haven't been updated with yesterday's games, but they won them over on the TSM side, so they'll be exciting. Evolved had a 12 KDA, Lost had a 13 KDA. I believe that can vary depending on how you calculate games with 0 deaths, but at some point, does it really matter? First strike will go over to TSM. A Mountain Drake scooped into their pocket. And that's remarkable, well, markable as well. Because TSM are normally a team that is okay losing those early Drakes. That is okay playing a little bit slower. This TSM Academy side doesn't need to be instantly winning. They excel in the mid-game 5v5s. They excel at forcing mid-game 5v5s. So them having the added tool of, you know, being one Drake closer to that soul will give them another tool in the recipe pack. That's not an analogy that works. I mixed and matched. I was making a new recipe. Dokla did just have to blow his TP back into the top lane. I've been talking an awful lot about TSM. I want to circle back to that CLG bot lane I was just vaguely talking of, because they're good as well. It does feel like Phil can sometimes get over-aggressive. They do feel less polished than the TSM Academy bot lane, but they have been a key part of their team's success. Here on this Tristana, some stats for you. This split, it has been played a grand total of 6 times. The 5 number is how many times it's lost. 5 out of those 6 times the Tristana has lost. That's a whole lot of EU minor leagues, BCS, and LJL that has been played in. Winston's looking at this Rift Tower, but I think all he'll be able to do is look on. As it does get scooped up, CLG able to lock down that early objective. Rift Herald for Drake trade isn't anything new, but it's good that CLG are able to execute on it. TSM are working out a slight gold lead. All of that is in Dokla, however. Literally all of it. He's got a massive CS lead in this top lane. He's just been bullying Deus this entire time. Down in the bot lane, Wind actually is a slight CS lead over Lost. To be expected after those kills that he got. Big marker for me. Like, I'm not worried for TSM. The big marker for me is when we get to 10-15 minutes and they start trying to force a fight. So in these next 5 to maybe 10 minutes, if TSM do not earn out an early lead in this mid-game, then they are behind their typical pace. The way they've been winning these games often is they come into this 15-minute mark, they come into the second Drake, they force a big team fight, and they just roll off the tempo they accrue from it. So if TSM don't get that, if CLG, with the kills they got down bot, have knocked them off tempo enough that they can keep trading objective for objective, avoiding the fights, then we start to get much more interesting, I think. Then we start to be in a world where TSM are looking on the ropes as the top team in the capital. Deus has been on the ropes this entire time. I wasn't expecting him to be having such a rough time in this lane, because frankly he's, I think, the prospect that's looked better this season. Of course, that's relative. You know, Deus looking good on a team that's in the middle of the pack is easier than Dokla looking good on a team that is top of the pack and, by the way, playing through bot side. So it's all relative. But it is worth noting that Deus has looked solid this season, and he is being bullied, borderline knocked out of lane right now. Oh, shockwave. Pillar as well, Evolve forced to flash away. Zoe, it's not the end of the world, but that will mean a plank going over as well as a flash burn. That was a summoner spell. Not one of Zoe's free gimmies. He's hanging around in the mid lane. Does want to make sure that nothing too much gets given away. He'll lose a couple of turret planks in the end as Winston and Treats rotate up from bot. They also briefly had Lost in the area, but he has farm to get back to. Oh dear. Wind on the chase. That's already the slow applied. Lost will be backed up. Here comes Treats. Whoa, blasted away. He's back and Wind's in huge trouble. Back with a flash. There will be no way to escape this. The Ignite takes him down, and Winston will have the kill. That's a big pick for TSM. And it was Wind getting over-aggressive. All I've been talking about, you know, Phil sometimes stepping a little bit too far forward. It's Wind who steps up. CLG have the right idea, though. They take advantage of that tempo. They say, okay, you're down in bot lane trading. We'll take one turret, please. And off of that, they hope to be able to convert into the Rip Punch. They don't have that much tempo advantage, though. There's going to be all of TSM in this area very shortly. They're just trying to burn it down. CLG will be able to get it with no contest. That was the marker. Said TSM want to 5v5 fight around the second Drake. They lose a turret, and they don't get the 5v5. So, you know, knock on trade, maybe you can say that Wind's death was worth it. You say, hey Wind, you died so that we could get a turret and the Drake. There aren't very many shot callers who would be angry at you for that. I don't know if that was Wind's intention, but I'll give him the freebie. Shout outs to Wind for thinking ahead. And he's not out of lane either, he's still doing alright versus the Azrael, slightly. Even with that death, so CLG are rocking it up compared to previous games. Worries are still, once Dokla is able to come down, I won't count TSM out until either their Nexus turrets are being besieged or they've lost a 5v5. Whichever comes first. And if TSM Academy get all the way to their Nexus turrets without losing a 5v5, without fighting a 5v5, then CLG have played this masterfully. Taking a long drink of tea, in case you're wondering what the awkward pauses are. I'm drinking... oh, I shouldn't say the brand name. I'm drinking some very nice tea from my throat right now. It's keeping me safe, warm and cozy. Frogus and Phil are doing what I would call an invade, but they're kind of just, I don't know, squatting. If they stay there for 2 more months, they will legally be allowed to live there. Just sorry, the judge can't do anything. It's CLG's turn now. Evolved and the rest of TSM are trying to adjust to the fact that they lost that mid turret so early. That's a big boon for CLG. Both wanted to cancel that back. It was one of those things where you try to find the cancel button on the website and it's just a phone number. And who's gonna call somebody on the phone to cancel things? So, Phil manages to back all the way to base, and Deus in the meantime is all the way onto the Rift Herald. He signed up for the bonus plan. He did the thing where you call on the line and they offer you a better deal so that you stay on. CLG have a wonderful deal right now, an incredible package. They're going to be able to get this Rift Herald without losing anything else across the map. You can see they're being slightly besieged down here in the bot lane, but Wind is there to catch it. This is going very well for CLG. That's cresting the 15-minute mark as well, which, as I said, is normally when TSM step out ahead. Is normally when TSM are smashing these 5v5s. Did that without knocking Winston out of the jungle either. He's all right, he's not losing. Not winning especially either, but he's had a solid impact, and this has just been bullying straight through Lost and Treats, who were supposed to be the TSM win condition. Here comes the bot lane. Treats walking up into a lane that is already occupied. Winston will be in the area, as is a true shot barrel from Lost. Oh, and they've got a TP behind as well. Watch this. Doppler coming in on the flank. Treats will be chasing into Tuesday and Frogus up in this bush as Doppler finally arrives. He'll suplex into the backlines and instantly be stunned up, but Wind is already dead. That's a major kill for TSM. And it will mean that CLG are off of this fight. No more interest in taking it down their AD carry. And what did I tell you? Everything may look lost, but TSM's team fighting is clean. Treats TPs in from the back lines, isolates the kill. A homing missile. 150 pounds of pure muscle. Everything else is his bones. And that kill is given over with very little CLG could do about it. They have the solar flare like directly on him. He's set. He doesn't care. CLG are going to try and squeeze out this Drake because they have the back timings. Again, TSM have had to back because of that team fight that just happened. And I worry for like the second time this game, CLG's very solid macro play is going to give them an edge here. Looks like TSM are just letting it slide. There isn't going to be a very quick kill here at all. It's Frogus and Phil, but they're working on it. And it doesn't look like TSM are even going to change it. Oh no! A little bit of a reset, but we're fine. CLG sealed the deal in the end. Treats does see that rotate up, calls it out to Evolve, who says, I'm in, weirdly enough. I get a little bit of poke on it. Okay, so we're seeing a very clear dichotomy develop. CLG, solid at the macro, I would say, out-macroing TSM right now. TSM going to win the team fight, as I said. Thus far, that's only been good for one kill though. Which is not what you sign up for when you say, it's alright, we're going to win the team fights. You assume that you're going to get to team fight. As of right now, TSM have bought an umbrella in the middle of the California summer. It's not a criticism of the quality of the umbrella, which I'm sure is top tier. It's one of those metal ones, stays together even in strong wind. But if it's not raining, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. That's called an extended analogy. I always feel weird because the way the Academy broadcast works is like, Dash just drops in. He's like that dad who doesn't know how to knock. He just kicks down the door. What's going on, son? I'm just talking about umbrellas, Dash. Oh, Tuesday. In trouble. Instantly killed. Dokla and Co. able to pick up another big pick. And again, rather than fight that, CLG just walk away. And this time, TSM were able to get something for it. This time, TSM say, we know you're all top. We know you're not going to be able to do the Baron. Let's just trade some Barons of our own. They send Dokla up to kind of mitigate the amount of damage that Rift Herald will get. It may get a second charge, actually, with Wind pushing it. But no, Dokla's going to be there in time. Wind knows he has to drift away. 2 turrets for 1. Kill to TSM. Net win. And they get vision control around the Baron. Very well done, actually. And now, or CLG are going to have to properly teamfight, which I think was a condition they were trying to avoid. They do have Tuesday on the Orianna, they do have Wind on the Tristana. If they can protect that backline, their teamfights look good. The worry so far has been, Fracas isn't tanky enough yet to be a solid frontline against what TSM have on offer, particularly the mobility of Lost Treats and Evolve. That's so much backline dive. You need someone who can get in the way of that full push. Now, Leona has more lockdown than almost any other support in the video game, but doesn't matter if you can't hit it. They've been keeping Phil at arm's length, dancing past him to blow up Wind in Tuesday so far. And the TSM side will continue to do that until CLG counter-program them. I'd like to see them get a little bit more aggressive over on the CLG side, trying to find some major picks of their own before the fight starts, because I agree with them. I don't think the way they're playing right now, they're going to be able to win the 5v5, simply because TSM are never going to fight them front to back. But that's no reason why you can't, again, pick off individual players like Winston, like Dokla, who get separated from the pack. You can see right now there's going to be a group of Evolved, Lost, and Treats kind of hanging out towards the bot side of the map. Very difficult to lock down. Oh, we shift into a 1-3-1 here for TSM. Right as I'm talking about it, and CLG want to fight it. They agree with me. They want to find a free ping. But they don't get the engage in time. And TSM are now turning to walk into them. Phil over the wall will land the Sleepy Trouble, but with his Zenithblade's already in. At the goal, Solar Flare, Treats is trying to dive, but his backlight's already been chewed up. Evolved is gone. Deus is into Lost as well. He'll lose that trade. Lost manages to pick it up alongside Winston. So you're trading mid laner Evolved for top laner Deus, and a whole lot of CLG's HP bombs. CLG will mark that off as a loss. Back away. TSM do manage to get a fight 15 seconds before the Drake. They do manage to win it. And that's a worrying sign, because this, of course, will be the Drake scooped up, keeping CLG off of Soul Point themselves. And it's a sign that Winston's online. He's now being chased, cyberbullied online. As he'll run down towards the Drake. Oh, nice smite. A little bit of a drive-by. And TSM do get the Drake. Winston does evade. CLG want to turn. Oh, surely not. There is vision they'll have to clear out. But this is what they've been doing all game long, is just exploiting TSM's rather slavish devotion to tempo. TSM always want to back and buy, do a full reset after a fight, and CLG have exploited that masterfully. Multiple Drakes off of it, a couple of towers. Not the Baron, though. We don't quite live in that world. TSM will send a few players up to make sure nothing's going on. Hey, nice Battleland skin. I didn't realize you were rocking that, Treats. And they stop the Baron from going over. CLG do keep control of the area. They would keep an eye on it, but they don't even have vision control. And so the TSM team fight prevails. That was a pause where I was trying to drink tea, but I'm all out of tea because I have a tiny little mug. So it's just water now. I had to do a back-to-back pause. Changing it up. The caster meta. Dokla isn't changing any meta down here. This is split push set, but it's damn good. punches some turrets, gets some wood or stone, probably. We'll head back to the crafting bench to see what that can get him. Treats in the mid lane is chasing CLG around. This doesn't seem like the right House of Horrors to enter, but finds the knock-up and Fracas just drifts away. Those Treats 1v3, but CLG respected the speed of engagement seen so far. Tuesday and Fracas will be chasing TSM back here. They know that at least one player has backed and they want to see if they can exploit that, particularly with Dokla caught out. This was what lost them a lot of their lead in the game versus IMT. Dokla just gets separated, and here as Deus drops the Cyclone, him and Tuesday will be able to confirm the kill. And CLG find one of those isolated picks I was begging them for. And now with Dokla out the fight, how do you like your odds in a team fight? CLG have 30 seconds to find out. Oh, Fracas. Blown up. Maybe not very much. CLG get a look at the odds. And it's half of Fracas' HP. TSM will be able to stop the Baron from being faked or forced or anything like that. Oh my lord, they're actually starting it themselves. Down a player! They start the Baron. CLG are pushing bot lane, they'll abandon that real fast. Winston has the early warning here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble over the wall will cancel the investigation from CLG. And TSM gets some free damage, stop the bot lane push. Nothing dies for it, I guess. Incredible macro play, we take those. Forcing CLG to pay attention to them. Forcing them to stop benefiting from Dokla's death. The only thing CLG get from that solo pick is the bot lane turret. How do you make sure the other team doesn't carry a solo kill into the Baron? Oh, you go for the Baron, apparently. I think there is a world in which CLG can win these late-game team fights. Frankly, I'm worried we're not headed to it. We've seen Wind get repeatedly assassinated in these fights. We've seen Tuesday struggle to have a solid front line. A lot of that is because they don't have a tanky top laner. Phil keeps just getting run around. They ignore him in these fights. And Fracas isn't tanky enough. So we'll need to see the team fights change, if anything. Here comes our Ocean Drake. 15 seconds on the timer as the Vision game has been going well enough for CLG. Now gets shoved in return. Wind and Tuesday are trying to run away. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble will tag for Tuesday. Eats a tree shot as well. That's a chunk of HP, but nothing he won't be able to walk off as Evolved might actually be narrowed down here. Phil with the Zenith Blade, Solar Flare. It's a great combo, and Evolved is off the fight. TSM already down their mid laner as Phil arrives in the fight. Him and Wind are trying to make something happen, and Wind's down to no HP. Flap from Dokla. TSM strike back. CLG losing their players in the back of this. Meanwhile, Deus tries to 1v2 Lost in Winston. Tuesday finally wins his own battle, but he's got a 1v2 Lost in Winston, and there's no way you get that. TSM turn it off the back of their powerful back line. It is Lost, it is Winston, and they are unstoppable in these fights. TSM get this third Drake, putting them on the Ocean Soul, and now CLG are up against the wall. That was another long drink of water, which isn't worth mentioning on its own, but I'm genuinely very sad that I'm all out of tea. So many of you can mail me and say, I am soliciting donations. Wind and Co are pushing, immediately concerned about this Baron being taken. Their fears are assuaged. Phil, though, might have stood a little bit too far forward. Oh lord, Lost doing so much damage. Late game Ezreal is something else. Phil manages to happy beat his way to victory, even with Winston trying to find the kill, but Froggus may be sacrificed for his sins. There's their jungler gone. Critical around the Baron. CLG set to lose more as Wind is barely kept alive by Deus. Backing Dokla off. Very good use of his own ultimate, but that's now going to be on a very long timer. Wind will have his, but they won't have a jungler. Right as the Baron comes up, TSM to focus it down, to burn it down, and CLG know they can't enter that game state. So they'll push, so they'll check in, and there's instantly a good sleep. There's instantly Tuesday gone. Deus and Wind witness that and say it's back to CSing for me. Phil's in the area. Froggus has respawned. But CLG have indeed given up. They'll take a turret in mid lane, and that will be all. TSM get the Baron. TSM are looking to clean this game up and maintain their position atop the leaderboards here in Academy. The battle in the bot lane has gone TSM's way, and it looked a little bit shaky. Remember that, like, 10-minute gank that went so well for CLG? A distant memory now, but it was at one point a very bad omen for TSM. Now you just need to compare the numbers. Lost to Wind tells a whole story. Lost one of these fresh new players. Of course, he was an import from New Zealand. Previously played in the Oceanic region on Tainted Minds, Legacy, that sort of thing. And he's been terrifying all season long. The double import bot lane, actually, for TSM has just been a fantastic constant in their team fighting. It's every single time I'm like, oh, TSM are out of this, the bot lane shows up. Mid-game, Lost has found a ton of damage, he's playing Ezreal, he's playing Aphelios. Game's over before you know it. Oh, all the way in. Speaking of, Phil wants to find the kill onto Evolved, and they get that again. An early pick onto the Zoe for CLG. This time they're able to disengage. This time they slip away behind their turrets. The turret itself may not be long for this world. You can see it just getting chipped away by the Barons. In fact, it will go down, and that's Dokla's cue to go in. He got 3 people all by himself in this stasis. They can't challenge him. Froggus with no HP remaining will need to run away. I do not believe it. Dokla takes on an entire team and walks away with Tuesday's head. You take our mid laner, we'll take yours. That is quite possibly the most terrifying set I've seen in a while. He's been tuned down. We haven't seen the set from release that was just a 1v5ing. Until I kind of implied Dokla was a weak point for the team in the early game. And he's been making me eat my words ever since. Dodges that blast cone. Now 3 players on him. But the flash over the wall, the emote for style of Dokla is fine. CLG have to gaze on in awe as the muscle-bound god slips into the jungle. Oh, and he's back. He's hunting. Lost is here around the corner. This could be treats with the engage. Dokla is just waiting for his moment. Here he comes on the flag, full ulti in. Tuesday's takedown again. Wind's a half HP. Wind barely alive. Evolved will find the kill. There was a flag this whole time. That was Deus trying to get the backline, and TSM deal with him with ease. The only kill over is again poor Evolved, who has been bullied all game. But he is the only kill CLG get. TSM win the fight, and it is perfect timing because here is the Ocean Soul. TSM Academy looking powerful as ever in their team fights. The coordination with Dokla is a huge factor in them this game. And that wasn't something I had pegged. Previously, these team fights have come from kind of the bottom half of the map, evolved through traits. And we still are seeing that. Treats' engages are beautiful. The man is a nutcase. Lost is playing wonderfully around the backside. Evolved is there to close kills. But the difference maker many times over has been Winston and Dokla diving into the front lines, finding the sick flanks. Winston in particular anchoring with Lost, making sure that Lost isn't picked up in the backlines. That's been something I haven't seen previously from TSM, at least this clearly. At least this defined. And I'm certainly loving it here. For CLG aren't, though. If they have a path back into this game, it is a windy one. Let's say it has to come from Wind. I think that's where you build Wind and Tuesday. They're the only people that are going to have any damage here. Deus is a minion with a CC spell. Not the player, sorry Deus. But, you know, he's been quite rudely bullied out of lane all game, and it's not getting any better. Deus and Phil are in the area. Winston and Lost will have to drift away. And so TSM are able to put on the brakes. 30 seconds until the Baron. And CLG can't really do anything to instigate. Just waiting for TSM to decide they're done with this game. Lost decides that True Shot's on a really short cooldown now. Did nothing. Don't get me wrong, he hit it. Cool. Phil didn't even notice. That was the wind going by. Oh, wind's blowing strong today. That will be the Baron up. TSM do have the rotate into the area. They're maybe looking for a team fight before they start it. This is kind of interesting. Look at how far forward Treats is. He's got like nobody to support him. As always, I slightly underestimate the range of Evolve. Lost. Following up. Treats is just going, and it works! They obliterate him! A kill onto Fragus! That is genuinely disgusting. Treats will go down. Wind responsible for that kill. And now Solar Flare from Phil could be Evolved, bullied out yet again. Deus will be slept, but he's able to get in with the Cyclone before it happens. So Evolved is barely alive. Zenith Blade to chase. Poor Evolved, a sliver of HP, but they keep him up. Here comes the front line. Winston is in this. Dokla is stalling out. He's being the beefy boy that Evolved needed. And now the turrets are falling inside their base to the super minion waves. Lost has acquired yet another kill, and there is an inhibitor turret down in the mid lane. If you wanted a better setting for the Baron, you could not paint it. TSM will drift back and begin the fight. I don't think CLG can do anything. TSM will complete it. CLG indeed do nothing. And here comes the game end. TSM have the shove. Full advantage. I mean, look at that gold count up top. And tell me that it doesn't look great. If you're a TSM fan. If you're a CLG fan, I will accept alternative answers. Man, coming into this game, I was kind of a little bit hard on Winston, because of course I'm fun reviewing, and I'm reviewing the games that they lost more than the games that they won, because TSM's all but undefeated. So I want to know what the but is. I want to know how it happens. And it really did happen because of Winston. But we're in the pre-game lobby, and Treats is saying in the chat, my jungle's so good. And I was like, really, Treats? Is he that good? Yes, apparently. So shout-outs to Treats for supporting his teammates. Giving his backup, both morally and in-game. And I'm sorry for doubting you on out. I would never doubt that to Treats' face. There is the inhibitor turrets to be picked up. Dokla solo at the bot lane, as always. Mid lane and him falls simultaneously. TSM with another clean performance here in Academy, look darn near unstoppable. CLG did everything right during the early game. They fought the bot lane blow for blow. They won a lot of those exchanges, and yet TSM and their team fighting reign supreme. Here we go for the desperate last stand. Fracas is already gone. Dokla is 1v4ing, and it does not get much better than that. Treat barely survives the engage, but Dokla's still going. That was a GA on Dokla, if you were curious. He will go down right as the Nexus falls, and TSM win again.